Hey, good morning everybody. So today I want to show you how to use the wheel. So we're going to start with, I know I'm very short. So we're going to start with all the supplies that you need. So you're going to need at least one of these plastic bats, probably two, because we're going to attach one to the wheel head and we're going to keep one clean for the project at the end. You're gonna need a big old bucket of water. Remember, you can use warm water if you want to. You don't have to though. You're gonna need a little sponge. You need a needle tool. Depending on what kind of techniques you're gonna do, you might want one of the little pokey tools. That's kind of a decorative tool though. So if you're not sure that you're gonna get to the decoration part, then you can just grab one later. I do want a wooden rib. And there's also a couple other kinds of ribs that you can use for different effects. And of course you need some clay. Now, most of the time when you're starting out, I recommend having something that fits fairly easily in your hand. So I wouldn't do any smaller than this, but I wouldn't do much bigger than something like that just to start with. Okay. So that's the materials you need. So go ahead and do that. I'm gonna pause and be like, oh, look, oh, there's the next one. Hey everybody. So next up, we have a couple different wheels in our class, but this one's really the only kind of tricky one for turning it on. So once you have all your stuff, before I turn it on, I always put the plastic bat on. So there's these little bumps in here. These are bat pins. So the little bat pins right here, there's one on each side and there's a hole on each side of the bat. So you want to just kind of like stick it on there and make sure that it's not wobbly, right? Now, way under here, oh, okay, way under here. Oh, the other thing is I tend to wear this apron. Make sure, like the other aprons tend to be bigger, but this is my apron. So I wear, I put a towel up against me so I don't splatter my area with clay. And the other thing is my hair's short. If your hair is hecka long, the last thing you want to do is have this start spinning and rip all your hair out. So make sure if your hair is longer than mine, make sure you pull your hair back, okay? And then, like I said, reach way under here. There's a weird knobby thing and you can turn it different directions, but you want the top side towards you, okay? So when you reach under here, top side, pull it towards you. And that will make this spin in the appropriate direction. Now, right now it's not spinning. You can hear it, it's on, but I haven't pushed on the foot pedal yet. Now, sometimes I'll use the foot pedal and sometimes I'll just use my hand and make it go how fast I want it to go. But the foot pedal is just like in a car where you push it and it goes really fast. Or, if you let off a little bit, it goes slow. The main difference is in a car, if you let off, it'll automatically go slower. On a wheel, once you push it forward, if you slide your foot off the side, it'll stay going that speed, okay? So now you can see, this is why I put my bat on beforehand, because even though I have the wheel all the way down, our wheels are a little old and they're like, we're just gonna spin, even though I have it turned off. So we've done that. So that's how you prepare that. So I'm just gonna go like this. That's how I'm gonna know that I'm ready for the next video. So now I have my clay. I wanna get it kind of in the center. It's in the center. To get it to stick, you kind of have to smack it like you mean it. And then make sure your bat's not wet and that your clay is not wet, okay? If you have any water in between, it'll slide off. Now, this first part is gonna be called centering. So centering is where you take this and you want it to be nice and smooth and even as you are wheel throwing, okay? So this part's gonna go really fast, like we're gonna have the wheel really fast, and we're also gonna be using lots of water, okay? So, like I said, we're gonna speed it up. I'm gonna have it going pretty fast. So this is the part where students are like, oh my God, Missy, right? I know, it looks a little scary. And I'm gonna use a lot of water. So I'm just gonna squeeze a little bit of water on there. Now I'm gonna wedge my elbow right into my hip right here, because by doing that, when I lean forward, I'm also like really close to the wheel. Like I'm like my leg is touching the wheel. Because when I do that, this part of my body is really strong and it can move up and down, but it's not going to move this way unless I let my elbow go, right? So if I wedge it in there, good. So I'm going to use this part of my hand to push the clay towards the opposite side. So on like a clock, I'm looking at, 10 or 11 o'clock. So I'm using this part of my arm to kind of push the clay that way because I have the wheel spinning counterclockwise. So here we go. And I'm using this hand just for support. So, and then when you let go a little bit, go slow. Like don't jerk your hand off the wheel, just go slow. So as soon as it starts to feel sticky and it's not just gliding easily, then take your hands off gently and add some more water. Sometimes I'll use this hand and go like this, just so it stays wet longer. But you can see how I'm already starting to change the shape. So the main thing that we're trying to do here is we're trying to get it right in the middle with no wobbles, okay? And if it starts to get sticky or doesn't feel slick, add more water. Now what I just did is called coning. So coning is where you're using both hands, not us, where you're using both hands and you're bringing it together like a volcano, and then I'm gonna squish it down. It's just another way, like if you're having a hard time getting it centered, it's another way to help center it. Mostly I use this hand though, and just this one is just supporting. Okay, now a lot of times too, students, like especially when you're first starting, if you have a lot of extra over here, it is really distracting and it's kind of hard to deal with. So what I do is I use my wooden tool. I'm always going to be working on the right side of the wheel because my wheel is spinning this way. If I try to do it this way, I'm going to like yank off my clay. But all I'm going to do is scoop off some of the extra clay. This is one of those things, it's personal preference. You don't have to do that, but I like to do it just because it makes it easier for me to see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna add a little bit more water and I'm just gonna real gentle squeeze, let go. And this is pretty well in the center. See how it's not really wobbling anymore? So this is a centered piece. So all this little slippy goodness, you can just drip right down in there. You could also put it in your little bucket of water, that's fine too. Okay, so now that I've done this, I'm gonna go like, boom,